Shalom, everyone. This is Brother Doug. Hope you're having a great Shabbat right now. All my brothers and sisters in Yahusha. I wanted to do a video, just a little brief video about who is Daniel chapter 9, verse 27 actually talking about. There's many others in some Hebraic roots camps that want to say Daniel 9:27 is talking about Yahusha. The majority of Christianity wants to say that Daniel 9:27 is talking about Yahusha, not the anti-Messiah. And mainly they have a preconceived bias because they want to have proof to show someone that Yahusha did away with the sacrifices. That's the only reason they actually want to interpret it that way, and we're going to get into why. For any other reason, it would be really dangerous to interpret that way, and even for the reason they want to use, it's dangerous to interpret it that way. So we're going to get into right here what the abomination desolation was always talking about, and it's the same event that's constantly reiterated by Yahusha himself. So I would have to ask you the question you should be thinking to yourself is, why would Yahusha warn his disciples about the same event of him taking away the sacrifices? If he's the one taking away the sacrifices, why would he warn them and tell them to flee Judea? Just something you should be thinking about. Okay, so we're going to first go to Daniel chapter 9, and we're going to see, is this really referring to Yahusha, or is it referring to the anti-Messiah? So here we go. Now, unfortunately, I haven't figured out this share screen thing here, so I'm probably going to be giving you guys the scriptures in the comments section. Sorry about that. But you can at least hear me from where I'm reading from. And I will be using the Septuagint because it's a more accurate version of the book of Daniel. It actually has Daniel chapter 13 and 14 that the Masoretic text so happens to have left out in later versions of the Bible. So here we go, Daniel chapter 9, and we'll be reading specifically from Daniel chapter 9, verse 2, and verse 26 and 27, because those are like the main references of the abomination of desolation in this chapter. Okay, it says, Daniel chapter 9, verse 2, I, Daniel, understood by the books of the numbers of years, which was the word of Yahuwah to the prophet Yirmiyahu, even 70 years for the accomplishment of the desolation of Jerusalem. Now, this is not talking about the abomination of desolation. This is talking about the destruction of Jerusalem when they were taken into captive. So let's keep that in mind. I'm using a list of scripture references from the ISR 2009 notes off the eSword, so just bear with me here. So that's actually talking about the desolation of Jerusalem, not the abomination of desolation. So a little bit different. It's kind of like basically they're related to one another, but they're two different events, just to kind of help you guys understand here. So now we're going to go to Daniel chapter 9, verse 26, and it says, and after 62 weeks, the anointed one, meaning the Messiah, shall be destroyed, and there is no judgment in him. He shall destroy the city and set apart place with the prince that is coming. They shall be cut off with a flood, and to the end of the war, which is rapidly completed, he shall point the city to desolations. Again, this is talking about the impalement of Messiah. Verse 26 is talking about that there's no judgment in him, because the first time he came, he didn't come to judge us yet in his first appearing, if that makes any sense. Okay, he didn't come to judge us yet. His second coming, he will be the judge. So let's just keep that in context here. And then it talks about the destruction of Jerusalem and the temple. So this is 70 AD. This is not the abomination of desolation. I want to make that clear. This is talking about the desolation of the city of Jerusalem in 70 AD. Also, the impalement of Yahusha when he died for our sins. So Now we're going to get to Daniel 9:27 here, and this is where people want to take and want to say, well, this is continuing the same prophecy. No, it's not. It's actually talking about something completely different. I'll show you why. And it says, and 1 week shall establish the covenant with many. In the midst of the week, my sacrifice and drink offering shall be taken away. And on the temple shall be the abomination of desolations, and at the end of time, an end shall be put to the desolation. So it's even telling you that this abomination of desolation is not put to a stop until the end times. So think about that. How can Daniel 9:26 and 27 be the same event if Daniel 9:26 was fully fulfilled in 70 AD and we still have abomination of desolation to look to, as Yahusha says in Matthew 24? So we're going to continue here. I'm going to show you guys how Daniel 9:27 is not talking about Yahusha, and Daniel 9:26 is the verse that's actually talking about Yahusha. They're two different events. You have one, the destruction of the temple of Jerusalem is Daniel 9:26. And Daniel 9:27 is the abomination and desolation that has happened once as a partial fulfillment and will happen again in the end times. So here we go. Daniel chapter 11, verse 31. So we're going to stay in the book of Daniel here. And let's see here. Daniel chapter 11, verse 31. I believe this actually talks verbatimly about the anti-Messiah here. And it says, and seeds shall spring up out of him, meaning there's going to be other kings from his lineage. And they shall profane, or maybe it's not kings, maybe it's just children. And they shall profane the set apart place of strength, and they shall remove the perpetual sacrifice and make the abomination desolate. So removing the perpetual sacrifice is causing the abomination desolation. Okay, let's keep that in mind here. So again, why would Yahusha be telling his disciples, when you see the abomination desolation standing where it ought not to be, let the reader understand and let those in Judea flee to the mountains? Why would he say that if he's talking about himself? You know, just a question. Okay. Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. So we're going to stay in the book of Daniel here. And at that time, Michael, meaning Michael the archangel, the great prince shall stand up, that stands over the children of your people. And there shall be a time of tribulation, such tribulation as has not been from the time that there was a nation on the earth until that time. At that time, your people shall be delivered, everyone that is written in the book. Meaning that, okay, so this is the same context here. So the Great Tribulation comes right after the abomination of desolation, basically. Okay, so the Great Tribulation pretty much hangs off of the abomination of desolation happening first. So obviously Yahusha is not even going to be around when the abomination of desolation happens, because right after that happens, the Great Tribulation happens. And I'll show you at the end of this little study here, I'm going to show you guys that Yahusha says himself that he's not coming until the tribulation's over. His second coming is not going to be until the Great Tribulation is over. So just for time's sake, it's impossible that the abomination of desolation spoken of in Daniel 9:27 could be Yahusha taking away the sacrifices, and there's no more sacrifice for anything, and no more Levitical priesthood, as that's the Christian understanding of Daniel 9:27. It doesn't make any logical sense with any other scriptures that you can put with the abomination of desolation. It would literally mess up the whole timeline of the end times if that's the case. And it would make no sense for Yahusha to warn, like I said before, and I keep reiterating, why would Yahusha warn his disciples about him taking away the sacrifice as a bad thing? You know, Christianity wants to look at him taking away this. They want to say he took away the sacrifices, so we don't have to worry about that anymore, and the burden's over with. Yahusha is letting these guys know the abomination and desolation is a bad thing. So you got to really think about it. Does that even make logical sense that he would be the one in Daniel chapter 9, verse 27? I'm just saying. So now we're going to go to a couple apocryphal books that show a partial fulfillment of what we've just been reading about, is the abomination that makes desolate. Okay. All right. So we got First Maccabees, and I'm sorry all that don't approve of the Apocrypha, but this is going to help our understanding here of what the abomination that makes desolate or lays waste actually is. Okay, so I'm going to be reading from First Maccabees, chapter 1, 54 to 57. Okay, so this will help our understanding a little bit here. So here we go. And it says, now the 15th day of the month Keslu, in the 145th year, they set up the abomination of desolation upon the altar, so the physical temple of Yahuwah, and builded idol altars, graven images throughout the cities of Yehuda on every side. So First Maccabees 54 to 57 is letting you know that the abomination of desolation is literally setting up an idol in Yahuwah's temple. That's literally what it is. Okay, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in the streets. And when they had rent in pieces the books of the law, so they destroyed the Torah, which they found, they burnt them with fire. And whosoever was found with any book of the covenant or any committed to the Torah, the law, the king's commandment was that they should put him to death. So basically, the abomination of desolation is actually even connected with Daniel chapter 7, verse 25, I believe it is. And let me just go there real quick to show you that this perfectly coincides with the book of Daniel, the book of First Maccabees here. Okay? So it says right here, and he shall speak words against the Most High, and shall wear out the set apart ones of the Most High, and shall think to change times and law. What was Antiochus Epiphanes just ordering his soldiers to make them do? Destroy the Torah, change the law, get rid of the law, and power shall be given to his hand for a time and times and half a time. So basically meaning Daniel 7:25 can even refer to Constantine and pretty much all these. You got Constantine, who did that after Antiochus Epiphanes, and you will have a future anti-Messiah doing the same thing. But the only difference is in Revelation 13, this version, the final installment of the abomination of desolation, the beast will be able to cause it to come to life, breathe spirit into it. It will speak, and physically it will move and cause to be killed those that don't worship the beast and the abomination desolation, the image of the beast. So I just wanted to explain that to y'all, how this coincides. And Daniel 7:25 perfectly goes along with the abomination of desolation, which was first being fulfilled in the book of Maccabees. Okay, so let's go down here, and we were at verse 56 of First Maccabees chapter 1. And it says here, and whosoever was found with any book of the covenant, if any committed to the law of the king's commandment, was that they should put him to death. Okay, this is perfectly coincides with later on with Constantine. He made it a law that if you kept the Sabbath day and you were, quote unquote, in his own words, you were idle on the Sabbath day, you didn't work on the Sabbath day, you would be put to death. So Antiochus Epiphanes and Constantine were two types of the future anti-Messiah. So I I hope that's getting a little bit clearer here. Okay, so now we're going to go back. I got 2 more cross references here I want to fit in here before I end the video here. We got 2nd Maccabees, so the book of 2nd Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 2, and this verbatim tells you what the abomination of desolation is. And to pollute also the temple in Jerusalem. So the second temple that was there. And to call it the temple of Jupiter, Olympus, and that in Gerizim of Jupiter, the defender of strangers. That's kind of interesting. Jupiter, the defender of Gentiles, I guess, as they did desire that dwelt in the place. So they set up basically a statue of Zeus, Jupiter, okay, in Yahuwah's temple. And as you'll read on, if you read all the books of Maccabees, I forget the chapter and verse, but they also didn't just set up an idol in there. They sacrificed a pig on the altar to that idol. And back in that day, that was considered the abomination of desolation by the Yahudim, by the Maccabeans, that revolted against Antiochus Epiphanes. So that was 2nd Maccabees, chapter 6, verse 2. I will be leaving all these cross references in the comments section for anyone that wants to look these up for themselves. I recommend you use eSword if you don't have the Apocrypha, because they have the Septuagint with Apocrypha that has all the books of Maccabees, all 4 books of Maccabees. So last cross reference I have here is Matthew 24, verses 15 to 16. Okay, so it says here, and even on the header here for the eSword, it says the abomination of desolation. Okay, wherein you therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken of by Daniel the prophet, standing in the set apart place, meaning it's a physical statue standing in a set apart place. That's the abomination of desolation. Whoso readeth, let him understand. Then let them which be in Yahuda flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his place. Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them which give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day. So Yahusha's saying, we're still keeping the Sabbath. All right. Still keeping the Sabbath, everyone. And here we go here. Matthew 24:21. Now, Yahusha's verbatimly quoting from Daniel chapter 12 here. Matthew 24:21. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. So basically, Yahusha is saying the same exact thing as Daniel. When you see the abomination and desolation, you better flee to the mountains that are in Yahuda, okay? Only the people that are there, and I want to make this very clear, okay? He's not telling everyone in the world to flee to the mountains. He's telling those people in Judea flee into the mountains. That's something I wanted to make extremely clear, okay? But anyway, he's giving you the same event as in Daniel chapter 12, okay? You have the abomination of desolation, the image of the beast set up in the physical 3rd temple. Yes, there's going to be a physical 3rd temple. We're not the new temple. Sorry, guys. People that believe in that, I extremely disagree. The human body is not the new temple of Yahuwah. It's never even been referenced as there was a transition period from a physical building to the human body. I'm sorry, I don't believe that. And if you believe that, you're going to have a hard time understanding end times prophecy, and you're going to be deceived. Okay, the human body is not the abomination of desolation. Corrupting the image of the Father, we were made in His image. Corrupting His image is not the abomination of desolation. Could it have something to do with the mark of the beast? Possibly. That's more conspiratory, I guess. But as far as the abomination desolation is a physical statue in the physical 3rd temple, the false temple that is being built right now as we speak in Jerusalem. So hopefully this message that Yahuwah and Yahusha baruched me to be a vessel of theirs to give to you today, hopefully this brings more clarity. Hopefully the Father's going to the Father Yahuwah and the Son Yahusha have given us more clarity on this topic. And I would really tell people to really think about Daniel 9:27. What does it really reference about? So as you can see, abomination and desolation, it's always been prophesied about as the image of the beast, as that graven image that's going to be set up in the third temple. If you want to, I didn't include it today, but I might put it in the comments section. Look, you can also find the abomination and desolation in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 3 all the way to 12. And he lets you know that part of the abomination and desolation is not just the image of the beast, but that the anti-Messiah is going to walk in the temple of Yahuwah, claiming to be the Almighty, claiming to be Yahuwah, and sitting on the throne in the third temple. So thank you for tuning in today. Hopefully this helped anyone that's been very confused about Daniel chapter 9 verse 27. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your Shabbat. Shalom.